Oh yeah.
And so we are recording, so if you don't want to be seen, you guys can turn your screens off, although it's lovely to see your faces. It's hard when we're apart, and coming together this way and when we can see is helpful. So thank you everybody for coming tonight. This is the Medical Cannabis Student Association Networking Subcommittee event, and it's entitled Future Professions and Alumni. And I'm so excited to have everybody here tonight, and I'm especially our wonderful alumni panel. And if you guys want to raise your hands and show who you are, you're the panel, and then and Joelle. So we're just really excited to have them back. These are all graduates of the MCST program here at University of Maryland School of Pharmacy. And so I'm going to actually ask them to take the next 3 to 5 minutes and introduce themselves to you all. And I am going to, we'll do introductions here in the beginning, and then we'll do a little Q&A. Some questions I prepared for our panel, and then we'll allow some breakout rooms. So each panel member will have a breakout room, and if you'd like after that to go into the breakout rooms and network, ask them some questions that maybe you've written down as you were listening to them respond, and share what they're doing in the cannabis ecosystem and marketplace. So
sorry about that, cat.
Huh?
It was a cat tail.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Kids, it's all good.
Okay, so I guess I could ask everybody to kind of put themselves on mute, and then I'm just going to go around the panel and ask them to introduce themselves. And I don't know, you guys want to jump in and go whenever you're ready to go.
Okay, I'll go since nobody else is going. I'm Piper Lindeed. My journey in cannabis, medical cannabis, began when we started medicating this guy right here. He has Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. And there was a time where his doctors advised us that he wasn't going to be able to speak for very much longer. And so that made us look for alternatives to what we had been using, which was pharmaceuticals. He wasn't a candidate for any kind of surgery. So we went to cannabis. It was remarkable. And we soon learned that he needs a certain chemovar, and we had to work to figure out what it was. He was on THCA. THCA is what I started making for him. And, after we realized how important cannabis was to him being well, I started advocating in Texas at the Texas legislature. That was in 2014. And I've been working every legislative session since. I'm proud of some things that I've accomplished in the Texas legislature. And we have a long way to go. Dan Patrick is the thing that's been standing in our way. Somebody I know in Texas posted about the MCST program. So of course I jumped on it. I was graduated this past spring, 2022. And I feel that I got a lot of invaluable things from my education at Maryland that, while I was in the program, I probably didn't give it credit for. And then I started having conversations with people outside of the program. And, I realized, outside of the program, who came from the program and who didn't come from the program. And I realized how invaluable a lot of the education that I got through the program was. And that, the program obviously attracts a lot of people who self-educate about cannabis. And I think that's one of the things maybe it wasn't designed for. So I think a lot of people who go through the program kind of feel like, well, they're teaching me stuff I already know. But, you know, if you take that from the perspective that this is really designed for people who don't have that knowledge, who are, you know, pharmacists or researchers or physicians or some sort of practitioner, that can benefit from learning all of this stuff that we, you know, some of us have kind of had to learn for some reason or another on our own. But yeah, I think that the instructional design, the drug design, and the research design, all of that content was really invaluable, and I feel like gave me a lot of skills that I didn't have before. During something like this, a roundtable, I got to have a conversation with Debbie Chergai, the executive director of Americans for Safe Access. And, you know, through that networking, it kind of spawned the advocacy class that you all have available now. We didn't have that before. That was my idea. I mean, they probably, Dr. Coop probably had that idea too.
Thank you, Piper.
You
That
know.
was a fantastic class. Thank you.
So yeah, so Debbie and Dr. Coop and I had a meeting about, you know, how an advocacy course would work, and I guess through that, you know, built a relationship with Debbie, and after graduation, you know, I reached out to her just for some advice, and she asked me if I was interested in doing development for Americans for Safe Access, and so that's what I'm doing now. It's challenging. Development.
Shut up.
Quiet. Doing development is challenging. I think especially in the cannabis space, because, you know, there are a lot of things that kind of tie the hands of businesses in cannabis where they're short on money. Maybe they're not as short on money as they say they are when they're talking to, you know, a mom who, you know, and you know, I don't know, I get frustrated about it. Maybe I'll just stop there.
Thanks,
So-
Piper. Thank you so much. You know, it's exciting to hear that, because, you know, those students that are here tonight are going through those electives, and I was talking to Timothy about it, like, you know, those are new, you know, which Timothy, do you want to go ahead and go next?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. My name's Timothy Byers. I'm the director of cannabis programs at Pacific College of Health and Science. I'm also the co-founder of Radical Health. Both of those organizations create cannabis education for healthcare professionals. I'm a graduate of the first cohort at Maryland. So this was in 2021, I think. It's been about a year now. And I've been in the industry since about 2014. The first company that I co-founded was called the Agathis Collective, and we worked with patients, mostly seniors, mostly patients who are working with a specific nurse practitioner. And we would spend some time, we'd go to their homes, spend some time with them, help them understand their treatment plan, help them understand their dosing instructions, help them understand how to use the new devices that they were being recommended, and then provide continuing support and product delivery. We closed that company in 2018 after Prop 64 passed in California. We actually didn't have a legal path forward. So some of you may or may not know, when we make a transition from medical to adult use, often there's an extinction period depending on how the laws are written in the specific state. And that's what happened here in California. Many companies had to close down because cities and counties were given the autonomy to unilaterally ban commercial cannabis. And that's what happened in most of the counties around where I live. So we pivoted, and we created Radical Health, which again is an education company. So we developed some education modules for specifically for healthcare professionals. I've been on faculty at Pacific College for 2 years, and I accepted the directorship in January of 2022.
Awesome, Timothy. Thank you. And this program is similar to kind of the MCST program, but there's a niche to your program that's really different.
Yeah, we wanted to narrow the target audience. So when we were thinking about what kind of program, Pacific College of Health and Science is it's a college of clinicians. So we wanted to narrow the program to healthcare professionals. So what we like to think about is that we take this foundational these educational concepts in the cannabis space. We want to make sure that our students and our graduates are able to apply them in a clinical setting after they graduate.
Great. Thank you so much, Timothy. And Joelle, would you like to share?
Sure.
Us?
So I also was in the first cohort. I'm based in Washington, D.C. And I found the school because at the time I had a CBD business. I formulated these little CBD shots made with water soluble, full spectrum, I guess broad spectrum product that I was really excited about. And I started adding isolated terpenes to each of the formulas for functionality. And I added a drop of a terpene and had a brain boost for about 5 hours and was pretty impressed. Just as I saw the ad for the school. So I immediately signed up and really enjoyed the school. I didn't have a science background at all. I have a lot of liberal arts in my background. And what I wound up enjoying the most, of course, were the courses that had to do with formulations, and then also the chemistry. I don't know, maybe if I had discovered chemistry earlier, I would have gone down that path. But I really loved learning about neurotransmitters and everything that happens in the body chemically when drugs are introduced. And so ultimately, because as I was working on my CBD business, I also had 10 years of holistic health counseling. And I really enjoy working with patients. So I saw the cannabis as just a sort of natural progression of that. So I approached a dispensary in Washington, D.C. There are a lot of sort of multi-state operators, as everyone knows, and this was one of the only sort of mom and pop businesses. So that's where I am currently working. I've been there for about 2.5 years, and it's a really unique place in that we see plenty of people who are just coming in to get weed for the game, but we also see about that many people who have very serious health conditions. So it's really rewarding to have solutions for these people and to see their progress. You see them when they first come in as a patient, and then you see them over time and see how their body is healing. And it's a very satisfying place to work. I do both the patient consulting and I work on compliance as well there. It's Takoma Wellness Center, and I brought the little prop of our logo is a Hamza with a heart in it, and that's just sort of the vibe of the place. We really do hire people who have a very strong caregiver instinct, and it's a really nice place to work.
Joelle, you mentioned that you're in DC, and when you and I were talking, you had mentioned that DC specifically, because of their laws, you see people from all over the country.
Yes, and Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyone who has a card, a rec card or a medical card can come in. And actually today began the first day of any person can enter if they're 21 years or older. It looks like DC is sort of still trying to negotiate the rec situation, but right now, if you're from Wisconsin or Iowa or anywhere who, and they don't have access to cannabis, they can come to DC, and for $30, they can have 30 days worth of cannabis in DC. So that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. You know, it's a much better reputation than you get a sticker, you know, when you go down to DC to get your sticker, which I think was how the exchange used to work. I think.
Right. You paid for the sticker and you were gifted the
You're
cannabis.
gifted the cannabis. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks so much for sharing, Joelle.
Sure.
And Sarah, can you top us off? Who are you?
Well,
To come
Hi.
which Sarah? The
Yes,
other
hi.
Sarah? That's
Oh,
Sarah.
sorry.
I'm
Yes.
sorry. Did I?
It's you, Sarah.
Oh, it's me,
Sarah
Sarah.
Needham.
Okay.
Yes, my panel member.
Okay.
This is our student member, Sarah Diaz. Go ahead, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. Hi. I was also in the first cohort class, and like many of my particular vintage, I met cannabis back in high school. So a long time ago, before, there was medical, everything was obviously illegal at that time. And stopped using cannabis at a certain point in my career. And then, right when the program started, I had finished basically finding my biological family and had spent 4 years researching and doing DNA and doing all that kind of thing, and found both sides, and it's all good and wonderful and terrific. And some of the paternal people were here for a week at my house, so that was really great. And I was trying to figure out what I was going to do intellectually, because I enjoyed that research so much. And then I heard a story on NPR about the MCST program, and I applied, and I really never thought that I would be accepted because my background was in political science and history, not science. And I too now find that maybe if I had pursued science younger, I would have done science instead of history, or not. So I did the MCST program, and my background for the last 16 years has actually been working in the food service, and 7 of those last years was in food safety. And so during the program, I discovered, or as I kind of mold things, how my food safety background and cannabis could meld very well together. And as a result, I am now a QA specialist at a third-party independent cannabis testing lab in Middletown, Maryland. So, and there, we test cannabis. We use science. A lot of people, of course, when I tell them I'm a quality assurance person, they, of course, joke that, what do I do? Sit in the back room and test it and come up with my opinion on it. And I explain to them that I'm not a cannabis sommelier, that we actually use science.
Thank you. That's a good clarification for sure. Now, Sarah, you were telling me, like, that's a great, extraordinary story, and you were telling me that Maryland, the testing, you were sharing with me the testing situation in Maryland.
Well, currently, as far as the number of testing labs, there are 4 testing labs that are accredited and licensed in the state of Maryland. But at this point, only 2 of them are fully operational for testing cannabis, Green Analytics and Pinnacle. Our lab, Eastern Analytical Labs, we're a brand new licensed and accredited lab. We recently changed chemists, so we need to do some validation and verification of our test methods with our new chemists before we can actually start taking samples. And the other one is, as I understand it, still testing for COVID. So they're not even doing cannabis testing. So that kind of leaves us right now with only 2 labs to test.
Yeah. Thank you, Sarah. That's it's just fascinating to know what's feet on the ground, what's going on in the sectors we're not actively personally involved in. And as we move to kind of some Q&A, I put some questions together that I wanted to ask our panel. With regard to the MCST program, it's first in in the country. I think two of you guys or three of you are inaugural students. Like, how did that prepare you for what you're doing now?
I'll go. So I actually came into the program. One of the interesting things about the inaugural program is that there wasn't a whole lot of information about it prior to all of us signing up and registering for class. So we didn't know who the instructors are, at least I didn't. I didn't know a whole lot about what classes were going to be offered. It was really more of the historic relevance of the thing that had me interested. And I came in with already some established subject matter expertise in the area. So I wasn't sure what I would take away from it. My background before cannabis is in instructional systems design and curriculum development and writing. At least during the time that we were there was a minor emphasis on instructional systems design. Our capstone project was to create an educational training product for a company. So I think the thing that I would say that I took away from it was confidence. Having gone through a master's program, I could see what went into the development of a master's program, and I work in education, so that gave me a sense of confidence that I could graduate and then go out into the world and do something in that same space.
Thank you, Timothy. That's awesome. I mean, I think, what we're all sort of seeing is that from where we come into this program and, and what we get in this program then expands everything from where we came and offers that into the space, which is pretty fantastic.
Yeah. Cannabis, the industry, it's so siloed, right? You have manufacturing, you have cultivation, you have testing, you have retail, you have education. So it's likely that if you're a student and you come in and you have Sarah, you're the exception. The anecdote that I always say is, you're not going to come through this program if you don't have any chemistry background and get a job in a testing lab when you graduate. But here you go, someone done that. But usually people come into this program with their own background, and the cannabis part becomes an adjunct, and so they sort of fold that into what they're already doing. At least some of the older students, some of the younger students, maybe they haven't really had a whole lot of time to develop a career yet, and cannabis is the career, and that's great too.
Yeah, thank you. So, another question I was thinking, as I was going through the program, there was one course when, I love this one course, and then I'd go to another course and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was great. Like, in any of your experiences through the program, was there a particular course or moment that was really inspiring to you, that like if you were on a track, you knew you were on the right track, or if you weren't, it kind of set you on one? Go ahead, Sarah.
Well, I think actually, surprisingly enough, were the chemistry courses. I took high school chemistry 40 years ago. I suspect it had changed a little bit since then, but I really enjoyed the chemistry courses. And I think what they did was that they gave me, because I never walked into a cannabis testing lab before I walked into the one I work in. I'd been in laboratories before because my parents were medical people. And so I've been around hospitals and that kind of thing. And I think it gave me, like he said, the confidence to read research documents, read manuals, read all that information, understand it, put it together, and be able to work with the team in my lab who, like me, were not part of the cannabis industry, and for us to build a good relationship and basically get accredited and licensed, which is not necessarily the easiest thing to do. I can't hear you.
I would say for me, it wasn't any light bulb moment or any particular course, but just finding through every paper that I did, Schedule 1 needs to change. That's my conclusion on every single paper. Schedule 1 needs to change, so that we can have better research. And so, it's kind of, my husband and I discuss this often now because, he wants to work in nonprofit, he wants to shift careers into nonprofit too, but he wants to find a solution for our son's epilepsy, right? Because we're still seeing some seizures, some relapses and things. And for me, I think I take it as priority. I mean, that's not going to happen until we get Schedule 1 gone, Schedule 1 status of cannabis gone. And so it's all, thinking back on all of the papers, this is my priority. I need to get cannabis rescheduled if I want to help my son. And so I think, over and over and over and over and over and over again, that, that conclusion in every paper kind of reinforced that this is my priority.
Yeah, I mean, that's just setting that track. I mean, and that's been your life, Piper. And so what a great intersection. So thank you for sharing. Joelle, how about you? Was there a part that was really inspiring in what you were doing and then and kind of what you're doing now?
Well, I ate up that school work. I just, first of all, I hadn't been in school in a really, really, really long time. And it just felt so good to be using my brain that way again. And I loved most of the classes. I mean, some of them not at all, but with each of them, it would just spark this whole, gosh, I could do this with this, or I could do this with this. I just love the openness. I felt very equipped to do something more. But then looking at what I had done, it just made sense for me to continue on a more counseling path. And, obviously in that context, it just gives me the legitimacy. Like, you just add that degree and then people feel confident that what I say has credibility, even though it's a substance that doesn't work the same way in each person. But as long as you're transparent with people and let them know, like, if you and I take this same amount, we might have completely different experiences, and just give them access to you anytime they feel comfortable. And it's a process, and that's what counseling is about too. Just talking with a person and helping them through whatever they're searching for. So I really, I guess, like Tim, it's the confidence, but it's also the credibility. I just feel like it's really helped me achieve that, at least where I'm working right now.
And to circle around, the whole intention in this evening's event is to keeping alumni connected to each other in the program, but to practice networking, and I love what you said, Joelle, about, it gives you the confidence that Tim was talking about, but the ability to communicate in a way that is assured. And I think that's a big deal in patient care. And I think no matter what you're doing, whether you're working face to face with that patient, but just circling around to the intention of that. So we're going to go into breakout rooms in just a moment. And I I did want to ask one more question in the round here to the panel. And, you know, if each one of you would like to respond, that'd be great. And that is, you know, after have gone through the program and now some time in postgraduate experience, like, do you have sort of insights in your own experience you would like to share, or suggestions on this side of it, you know, for them as they're trying to find their track and where they're going to be afterwards?
I would say to do everything like this that you can, because networking is invaluable, especially, I mean, anywhere, but especially in cannabis. And so it kind of hits back on the previous Joelle's answer for the last question. Yeah, I think it's more than just confidence. It's the ability to interact with all of your cohort and previous alumni, and you know, the students who are going to come after you, all of this networking that's happening. And you're going to get exposure through whatever kind of media, you know, LinkedIn's a great place to be for cannabis. Exposure to, you know, the latest news for cannabis, what's happening and things like that. And it's really important because, especially right now, because media doesn't really cover these things much. So networking is invaluable, and take advantage of these opportunities like this.
Yeah, I don't think there are many other fields that are as vibrant and changing as this one. I mean, it's a pretty exciting place to work, I have to say. And I feel like there's just a lot of opportunity in many different arenas within the cannabis world.
Go to office hours. Again, you know, just riffing off of this idea of networking, meet as many of your peers as possible and get to know your instructors. Also, do as many presentations as you can. Learn how to public speak. You by default, you have entered into the cannabis industry. You are now an advocate in the cannabis industry, and you will be called to defend your positions frequently. So learn how to do it, because especially depending on where you are in the country, you know, we are in this protective bubble in the cannabis space, but once you get outside of it, sometimes we need to defend our position. So learn how to public speak and read as much as you can. So, you know, one important thing to being an advocate is being informed, and make sure that your information is evidence-based.
One of the things over the last 2 months, I've been to a number of conferences and just came from one yesterday. And I think the thing that kind of surprised me being out in the industry, in that, I'm not sure why, is that in school, cannabis is so clean, whereas you have out in the industry issues such as lab shopping. And of course, to me, I find, how can you do that when you're talking about a medicine for people with compromised immune systems, and you're more worried about money and making money than making sure someone is getting the correct product they need. And obviously, Piper in particular, you know how critical it is for medical cannabis patients to get the specific, you know, items that they need in their medicine. So just be aware that in school, it's you're more protected from some of the unfortunate bad actors out there. And I think as MCST students, it's part of our job, because we are well trained to be part of the voice of the ethics of the cannabis industry. And that's what's going to give us the gravitas that sometimes is lacking among people when you talk about you're in this industry.
Thank you. That's wisdom all right there. I really appreciate that. I love how you eloquently all spoke to those spaces, especially having to defend, cannabis and our education and what we know and what is true. So thank you for that reminder. So at this moment, we're going to begin the breakout room process, and each panel member will get a breakout room. And all of the participants are welcome to move about in the rooms, and we'll be in there for maybe about 15 minutes, and then we'll bring it back for a close. And yeah, so just practice networking and talking with each other. And I'm sure there's some questions you've probably written down as you've heard some of their answers and some things that interest you and your passions connecting. So when Alex is ready, we'll be ready to go. Hello, Alex. She was just there.
It looks like breakout rooms are available now for people to
Oh,
choose and join.
okay, let's take a look and see. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Thank you. All right, so you're welcome to go ahead and do that. If you can find that on your screen at the bottom left corner, you'll be able to open up the breakout rooms and find yourself a room. And if you need help, I'd be happy to stand back and help. Is everybody finding their spaces? Looks like it. Great. Sarah, do you know where your room is? You just pick your room that has your name on it and join it.
Hey, Karen,
Yes.
Delphina, I had a question for you. So
Hi,
I'm
Christina.
on a mobile device, and I was wondering how I find those breakout rooms on that device, or do I need to actually be on a laptop or desktop?
Dulcina, I'm not sure. So you're not driving though right now, right?
No, I'm sitting in my room.
Okay.
Lazy to go to the office.
Okay. So
Okay.
the only thing that I
I
can
get
think
breakout rooms.
so Sarah, I'm sorry. Hold on one second, Dulcina. Sarah
I'm
needs to
good.
get in the room. Did you get
I
it?
figured it out. Thank you.
Okay. Great. Dulcina, so the only thing I can imagine, because I'm not on my mobile device with this right now, is that it might be like under a more or a dot 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 where you press that little tap on it and it would have a menu that would come up. And
Okay.
then you would see breakout rooms or join and people's names and something to join. But I'm not entirely sure.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm looking at it now, and it looks as if it has, when I click on the dot, 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 it has transcription, meeting settings, minimize meeting, background effects, and whiteboard, and disconnect or chat.
Okay,
So I'm just gonna run upstairs since I'm logged into Zoom up there as well, and
Okay.
I'll log in on the computer. That
Okay.
way I have opportunity. Thank you for your
Okay.
help.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Ron, you're gonna stay in, you said, because you're driving. And then Michelle, do you need help getting into a breakout room? Oh, there's Michelle. She made it. All right, I'm gonna head into Sarah's real quick here. Make sure she's doing okay. Alex? Alex? Can you bring everybody back from the rooms?
Of course, no problem. Hold on one second.
Okay, thanks. Maybe like in a minute. I don't know how it works. Is it like a countdown?
No, I just gave them a 3-minute warning and I still
Oh,
have a
perfect.
minute left. So
Thank
I'll do it at 5:53 my time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I was like, I thought I was watching the time. I heard you. I'm like, oh no.
I was a little early. I was just thinking ahead.
I appreciate it. You've been so on top of it for this event and really had it together, and I really appreciate it. So thank you.
Yeah, right on. I mean, it seems like it's going really well. People are having great conversations and yeah, just checking in with people.
Awesome. I'm so happy to hear that. Okay, I'm going to close the rooms. Oh, there is a countdown. Oh. For some reason, I can't hear you.
Because my mute was on. All right, people are going to start coming back now.
Sweet.
Thank you, Alex, for all the logistics. It's like rub your head, pat your tummy.
It's any kind of association, right? Yep.
Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, this has been really successful. I agree. And you got some wonderful people for the panel. I really loved hearing about their backgrounds.
Yeah, it's diverse, you know. Oh, it was a scramble because I thought I had somebody else and then they couldn't do it and then they could anyway. All
It's
good.
always wild.
Hey, Santo, I didn't get to say hello to you. You came in. Hi, Christian. Good to see you. Welcome back, everybody.
Hello, sorry I was muted, Karen.
Oh, Santo. It's nice to see you.
You as well.
Yeah. So welcome back, everybody. You know, I want to thank our panel, our distinguished alumni who have taken precious time out of their very full lives to come and be with us tonight. So thank you so much. Your insight and your wisdom was just, you know, so welcomed and appreciated. So thank you. Thank you to fellow students and prospective students and all of you for making it out tonight, and all of you who will be watching this recording. You know, thank you all for your time. I hope that you had a chance to connect with those that you were wanting to connect with and network tonight with. And if there's any you know, anybody wants to get in touch with anybody, LinkedIn's a great place. Get your profile up and do all that great stuff and connect and follow. And certainly you can reach out to me and send me an email and I can connect you too. And I'll put my email in the chat. And I just wanted to ask our panel before we hang up tonight, we have about 5 minutes, you know, and do you have any last go-get-ems or insights, you know, from some of the stuff you guys chatted about in the breakout rooms, you know, and everybody, I'm going to open it up to everybody, not just the panel, but participants, if you want to, you know, say something while we're all here in the last 5 minutes and then we can head on out. Go ahead.
Can I just say something? I was at the seminar with some of the MCSD students and of course the ones here. I just can't say like how like excited I am about all of you guys being in the cannabis industry and taking this program and everything, because I get very excited and re-energized every time I'm around you guys. So thank you guys for everything you do.
Don't quit, finish. Sometimes when you're
Yeah,
going, I know it's a long haul, but stick it out. You'll be proud of yourself when you graduate. And it is, you know, graduating with a degree from the University of Maryland is impressive. So keep going.
And I also wanted to say, you know, you caught me on a cynical night. What I was just telling Victoria is, even though people don't like to write me checks, everybody in the cannabis industry is really wonderful. People are so you know, concerned about the greater good, and you know, making the world a better place. So it's a great place to be in the cannabis industry. So yeah, it's just, I think just money's tight right now. So
Thank you, Piper. Hey, Piper, advocacy's tough, you know, you get that window.
yeah. Oh, hey, I'm gonna also not pitch something, but promote something. So keep your eyes out for, I have a campaign that we're launching next Friday called the ASA Challenge, or Air Shred for ASA. So I hope you guys see our video and participate, or at least promote our videos, so that we can, you know, make this federal medical cannabis legalization happen, right? I'm hoping to get it to critical mass.
Yeah, please share that stuff on Facebook or wherever you please, Piper. I'd love to help get the word out as many ways as we can. Thanks for your support.
Yes, and we're sharing it on Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter, all kinds of stuff. We're going to be sharing, resharing, and anything, you know. But it's designed to be like, well, I have you here. I might as well tell you guys, right? It's designed to be like the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. So it's Air Shred. So we say, our family said, hi, you know, I'm Zach, and we're Zach's family. We just donated $10 to Americans for Safe Access to fight for safe and legal access to medical cannabis. We challenge, and then I named 4 people, and to donate, record, and post their own ASA Challenge videos. And this is how we shred. And we, you know, played Don't Fear the Reaper, and we did some, you know, some of us did air guitar, some of us did air cowbell, some of us shredded carrots.
I love it.
Like skateboarded. So shred in whatever way you want. So be thinking about how you're going to shred.
Right.
But you know, something, you know, it's just, you know, it's just the hope that, you know, we can get, you know, we can bring the conversation to the national agenda, you know.
Thanks, Piper. That's awesome.
Money too, you know.
Super exciting. So let's all check out ASA's campaign coming up this Friday.
Thank you.
Cool.
And anybody else like to share before we close tonight?
I want to say thank you to everyone. I really appreciate everyone showing up for your different roles. This has been fantastic for me selfishly. In the last breakout room, I learned from Christian's question to Sarah. So I have a page of notes. So this is very valuable information. So I just want to say thanks again, everyone.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you all for attending. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you all so much for coming, and I'll see you out there. And
thank you, Karen.
Thanks, Karen. Thanks for inviting.
Thanks, Karen.
Have a good one. Thank you.
Night.
Night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Good night.